So I've tried to make a video about this subject for a few tries now, and I've just decided I'm gonna go off the cuff and try to explain myself as best as I can, because maybe there's some people who are starting to recognize what's going on in the world, and it's pretty freaking obvious. And for those who don't see it yet, maybe this will give you something to think about. And I don't want to point out Candace Owens only. I think there's a bajillion people like Candace Owens who you can kind of watch her videos and sense that she's really onto something, right? Like, it seems like she really cares about the truth and she's very passionate. And I think most of the time people really either are polarized toward people who are passionate and like you can sense the truth from them, and they either love them or they hate them. And this is really nothing to do with whether or not you like or dislike Candace Owens, because if it's not Candace Owens for you, it's somebody else. And what I mean is, it's this media persona that talks about celebrity gossip, trannies in politics, and just pretty much all kinds of stuff. But she has this platform, right? She has this great power and doesn't see how it means that she's got also this huge responsibility to everybody who's watching her to actually do the right thing. And does she do the right thing? Well, this is the thing, is it doesn't really matter what she's doing, because you're the one who tunes in to watch her, and it gives her all these views, and people defend her in the comments and just defend her in general and act like she is some kind of savant, just extraordinary human being that we have to listen to and follow every fucking day for the latest dopamine rush, not realizing what exactly is happening when we're doing that. And we're all guilty of this. The point is that I'm just trying to get to the point where we're not doing that anymore. And that's the hard part, which is realizing that people like Candace Owens are not going to tell you the truth, because if they did tell you the actual truth, they would have no views on their videos. They would literally have nobody watching, because people who tell the truth often are not very well liked, and that's just a fact. There was only 12 disciples that Jesus had, and for the most part, people who tell the truth on a big scale get also murdered, number one. And then people just don't like it. People want to be distracted. People want to just not think about their problems, not think about what they have to do in their own lives to change themselves and do better. People would rather never do that. And that's kind of the point. That's why people like Candace Owens, and I actually don't know any other people. I mainly only know right-wing people or conservative people who on the left side, who it doesn't even matter. It's not that I'm a conservative or anything like that. I'm also not a liberal. I don't believe what the funniest thing is that I've never liked politics since I was a little kid. I've always seen straight through it, it's just a big scam. And so all these people who are constantly talking about politics, or basically just, politics and celebrity stuff or gossipy stuff, they're really not here to help you or me or anybody out there. They're here to stay basically capturing your attention so that they can get paid. And it's really sad that we continually give our attention away to these people who seem like they're very passionate, and it's so convincing, and they might be telling the truth about stuff, but does it matter in the grand scheme of things if there's a fucking tranny as a president of France? I don't think so. Or whatever the fucking thing is. I don't care anymore. I saw the whole thing and it doesn't even matter. The point is, at some point in our lives, we have to decide we're going to do something different and not continually just let ourselves be consumed by other people and their convictions, which do absolutely nothing to better our lives. And we've got to decide to actually look ourselves in the mirror and recognize where we're falling short in life and see where we can do better, and think about all these things about ourselves that we avoid, and we continually avoid by watching crap that distracts us, and then acting like some kind of fanboy or fangirl to these people we'll never meet, and just be so devoted to them, acting as if they're somehow change makers, really, when they're really not change makers. They're not really doing anything for us, because if they told us the truth, they'd tell us that we need to look ourselves in the mirror and change, because the world is in the state that it is because of each individual one of us not showing up fully in our own self-worth and self-value and having some decent normal self-esteem of some kind. So many people walk around hating themselves and think that as individuals that doesn't ripple out into the world, creating some kind of, cohesive situation, which we're seeing right now unfolding. The world just looks like it's turning into a worse place day by day by day. And there's more pressure on people to act right and conform and to give up their freedoms and their rights without anybody even making a fuss or care about it. Like, eventually you're not going to be able to get into your own car without scanning your retinas to make sure that it's you who's driving. And how are we going to escape that if everybody is so complacent and so happy to just conform to the rules as they come and basically strip us away of our rights and our freedom, God-given freedoms, because everybody is just perfectly fine to spend their time basically just distracting themselves with political commentators who absolutely will never tell you anything that is meaningful to change the direction of your life. She may think she's very noble and good. Of course she does. Everybody thinks that they're right about everything. But her self-righteousness is so obvious and so gross. And it's so disturbing because it's not anything that's going to make any change in the world. She can be so angry about the murder conspiracies that she's aware of, all that she wants. None of that matters. The only thing that matters is that each one of us starts to lift ourselves up from the fucking bottom pit of shit that we're in right now. And most people can't even be bothered to leave their house and go for a walk and sweat, or actually make their own food and do the right thing most of the time, Like, most people just have excuses, endless excuses as to why they can't do this, that, or that. There's always an excuse to feel like, well, I don't even care, to be apathetic. The main thing I see is apathy everywhere. People just completely have given up, don't care about anything. Nothing matters to them. Oh, well, I'm going to die, so it doesn't matter what I do. And it's just like, that's the common thing. That's the common just like vibe that I see everywhere. This just giving up attitude. And it's just like, how is it possible that I'm surrounded by all these people who just display their main emotion of cowardice everywhere? I don't know. But it's really isolating because I just don't want to be surrounded by people like that. And so most of the time I find myself surrounded by people who aren't like that, but they're just figures online that I really can't connect to, who are actually caring about doing the right things in this world. And the most important thing to do is to face yourself, is to do the work on yourself, to change, to become a better person. And it's not even remotely easy for number one, like, learn to emotionally regulate your emotions. I think that's been my number one hardest thing that I've ever had to do. But every day I get better and better at it. I mean, there's just no doubt about that. I'm still it's not like I'm the best at it, but we all have our faults in this world. But it's like, I do try to examine my issues and continually dive into why I am the way that I am, and not make excuses for why I am the way that I am and try to blame my parents. So many people are also stuck in blame. Oh, my mom is like this, that's why I'm like that. It's like, okay, your mom is like that. You may have learned that from your mom, but it's your decision now to continue to act that way. You're an adult. Oh, my dad did this, so now I feel like I can't do that. It's just everywhere. I think it mainly gets overwhelming to me because people that I care about say such deranged things. Like, they just don't value their own lives in any way. They're like, I just want to die when I'm 50. Like, what's the point of living till I'm old so that I can work forever? Like, they don't even see the value in the work that they do, which is really sad. People really just have, like, they think that the things that they do are meaningless and pointless, and just, I don't know. It doesn't matter if you're a garbage collector, an accountant, a dentist, a teacher, a waitress, a coach, a caterer, a server. Your inherent value as a human being is infinite. There's no one else in the world that's like you. And the fact that people put themselves down for what? Not being a celebrity, for not having millions of dollars, for not looking like a picture perfect carbon copy of an image that's not even real on a magazine that's been photoshopped to smithereens. It's not even remotely realistic. But that's what we've been brainwashed to think is real. It's just depressing. It's hard every day of my life to wake up and want to feel motivated to continue to show up with patience, care, self-respect as well. That I don't really lack as much, really. I don't really lack it that much. I don't put harmful substances into my body, really. I might do that here or there, like once or twice a year, but for the most part, I'm pretty consistent in caring about myself and having self-respect and not, treating my body like a dumpster. But most people don't. Most people are like, YOLO, it doesn't matter. We're going to die anyway. So I may as well just go to McDonald's, go through the drive-thru and eat food that doesn't even decompose and stays in my fucking intestines for decades. Like, literally. And then they have IBS or diverticulitis or colitis or Crohn's at some point, or they have mystery illnesses, or they're just completely tired all the time and have no energy, and they wonder why. Really wonder? Or is it because of the choices that you're making day in and day out that are obviously reflecting the reality of your inner self to the outside, which is like you have no energy because there's nothing inside of you that's even remotely in alignment with the truth. And the truth is that you are what you consume. And if you constantly consume these dopamine rushes, you're going to have a very low amount of natural dopamine in your system, and you're just going to be lifeless throughout the day. If you constantly are eating trash, you're going to feel like trash. If you're constantly talking trash to yourself in your mind and you're not taking the time to just be at peace with yourself, accepting who you are, accepting that every single moment of your day is like a little bit of just like how could I say that? The way that you naturally are, you have to have grace with, and just like let go of the resistance to want to escape where you are, and let that ease take over you so that you can feel that inner peace, that you're right where you are supposed to be right now. But people don't want to do that. They always want to be somewhere else, or they're thinking about how things didn't work out in the past and how they wish it would work out now, and fantasizing about this or that. Instead of just being here in the present moment and working with what you've got and building with what you've got, building on your strengths and trying to be a better person. Because if we all did that, if we all tried to better ourselves and we all started to raise our vibration and our consciousness and followed our conscience, the world wouldn't look like it does. But people just don't want to accept that. They want to blame someone else. They want to blame, anybody else out there, whether it be true or not. They want to blame other people for why the world is the way that it is instead of looking within themselves. And yeah, I don't hate Candace Owens, but is she a responsible person? No, she's not. Because if she was responsible, she would turn it around on the viewers and she would say, so viewers, what is it that you're doing to help improve your life so that the world can improve? Instead of constantly finding these external boogeymen to focus on. But she's got to keep the story going, She's part of the circus. Give them bread and circuses and they'll never revolt. She's part of the circus and people just don't see it yet. Maybe they'll see it one day. I think people are starting to understand that there's no left and right in government and in politics. It's all one thing and it's all designed to keep you enslaved. But the thing is, all these commentators, all these people that you think are such great people because they're telling you the truth, they're not telling you the truth. If they told you the truth, you wouldn't watch them. If they told you you need to change yourself in order for the world to change, you would be like, boring. What's next? Oh, wrestling's on. Oh, sports are on. That's right. You'd be looking for the next circus. You'd be looking for the next act in order to completely disassociate from what you're actually feeling right now with the discomfort that you're feeling about where you're at. And maybe in that discomfort and in that boredom, you'd actually find some way to do something different. And in that moment where you chose something different, where you chose to not run away from your addictions, from your feelings of self-worth, from these compulsions that people have, from these obsessive thoughts, from the rumination, from all these horrible things that people go through, regular human beings that they go through, if they would just stop and they would stop wrecking relationships with others because they can't get right within themselves, then the cycles would end. People would be able to partner up with each other and create new realities, brighter realities that are just beautiful. But people are not doing that. They're not doing that even remotely close in big numbers. Like, it's just such a small amount of people that are dedicated to changing their lives for the more positive. It's just not enough people who understand that the only way for this world to change is to change themselves. There is no excuse anymore to continue to put off stuff that has to get done today, even if it's 10 minutes. There's always a little bit of time to do something positive for yourself, to take care of yourself, to strengthen your mind, to strengthen your body, to strengthen your spirit, to connect with God, to connect with yourself, to calm your mind. There's a million things you can do. Meditation, grounding, changing your diet, not allowing your thoughts to take over you. You are the one who is control of your mind, not the other way around. The fact that people don't understand that we're supposed to be the ones who control our minds, not the mind control us, it's just disastrous and sad. I get it that we all fall to the thoughts of our minds at times, but it should be just well known that we're the ones who are in control of our minds, not the other way around. And that if we have a severe issue of obsessive thinking or compulsive actions that prevent us from living a normal life, we have to seek help for that. Not stay completely hidden from the world and not letting them know how bad we're struggling, but reach out for help. But you have to want to change first. And I'll say it till I die, but once again, the world is never going to change if we as individuals don't change. And that's kind of the point. That's why I wanted to make this, because there's a million videos you could watch. There's a million podcasts you can listen to that will completely just allow you to take away that discomfort that you're feeling inside of yourself for the next hour because you're not focused on where you're really at in life. But I would urge you to, instead of distracting yourself for that 1 hour every day, that where you're probably doing more than just 1 hour, where you're distracting yourself with podcasts or with fucking food or with gossip or with complaining or self-loathing or hating yourself or rumination, whatever it is that you're doing that is not doing you any good, that you at least replace it with something positive. Because there is enough time in the day to do things that are good for yourself. But if you're filling it with all this other terrible stuff, you're going to stay running in circles for the rest of your life. And yeah, I think that's how I'm going to start this little YouTube channel again, is just talking about shit that I think. And I don't know. I really have no plans other than it's uncomfortable for me to make videos to begin with, and it's uncomfortable for me to talk about what I really think. So I think that's what I'll do, because I do find it to be so uncomfortable. I've done this so many times, and then I end up erasing all the videos that I put up. So I'm gonna just try to like put them and let them stay, because it is so uncomfortable for me to do. And maybe somebody out there can listen to what I'm saying and actually do something good for themselves. Because when you do something good for yourself, you're doing something good for the world. And that, I don't think anything would make me happier than if the world were a better place, full of less garbage. I don't even want to talk about the garbage. The amount of garbage I've seen lately manifested physically is just overwhelming. And this world is so beautiful, and it just doesn't have to be the way that it is, with so much unnecessary suffering, especially when it comes to like inner suffering. It just doesn't have to be that way. So anyway, that is where I'll leave it for now. Talk to you later.